It's the button on the bottom. There you go.
Ah!
All right.
This SOB.
Let's bring in our guest. Last weekend, he had an idea to replace the Pro Bowl that took over Twitter and had everyone ready to take this to Roger Goodell, New York Giants beat writer and member of Pro Football Writers of America. Doug Rush is here. What's happening, Doug?
Thanks for having me. How we doing?
Of course, we're doing great. We're happy to have you. Doug, this idea you had last week on Twitter, it really took off. I was watching the Pro Bowl and we said, we need something new. This is terrible. And then I'm on Twitter and you proposed. Tell us what you proposed to replace it.
So the idea, and apparently it's not an original idea. I know Dave, a lot of the people said Dave had the idea first, and which is fine. I'm not trying to take credit for it. And I just said that instead of the Pro Bowl, we take the teams with the two worst records, and that being the Jaguars and the Lions. Let them play in a game. If you want to call it week 19, you want to replace it as the Pro Bowl weekend, whatever. And the winner of that game gets the number 1 pick and the loser gets number 2. And
I think this is a great idea. And I actually don't remember Dave saying this at all. But what's great is you put the logos. Basically what you did is you put the difference was you put the Jaguars and the Lions logos on there. I think you got how many likes did you get for that tweet?
I think 5,000. I mean, my phone didn't stop for 2 days. I mean, I'm literally sitting on my couch at home with my kids, and my son is literally like, "Dad, why aren't they tackling each other? It's a football game." And I'm just like,
it's terrible.
You're right, Carson. And I'd rather watch the Lions and the Jaguars play a game, and that's where I came up with it. And I did not think it would go that viral, and I was wrong.
I love it. Martin, you like this idea?
Oh, not only do I love this idea, I think it's a great idea. And I also love the fact that I've heard Dave say this for no less than the last 4 years. But my man Doug tweets it. And now, because he tweeted it and it goes out there, and Doug, I'm not saying you did this intentionally. This is just the way the world works. Because Dave Dameshek, that is what irking him the most out of everything. It's nothing to do with Doug, but the fact that he's been saying this forever. And now
I retweeted it.
and everybody agrees.
Dave to it. All right, Shek, what do you, now you're going to, I mean, this poor guy has an idea. You're going to say it's yours now?
Well, for the record, just to because many people have had this idea over the last 15 years. As far as I know, I am the first person to have this foolish idea. And there is recorded, there is a record of it.
He was the first person to.
Doug, I brought it was yours, right?
Well, but Doug
I
is
wasn't
also
trying to take credit for it.
Sure.
I mean,
well, let me just say, I did on my Page 2 podcast back in maybe 07-ish. Peter King was on, and I floated it to him, and I remember that he provided the legitimate skepticism of like, why would teams try in this game? And of course, the answer is you would pay them just like you would to be in the Pro Bowl. And then the next question is, why would the quarterback, the incumbent QB, play well if he knows that if they win the game, they're going to draft his replacement? My answer to that is the same strategy as a coach must figure out if he's a run-first team playing against a defense that stuffs the run best. So,
but
anyway.
I think that's tough. I think that's the sticking point. I really do. I don't think it's. I don't think you could dismiss it and say, "Well, it's a coach's problem to figure out." If you're doing it to replace the Pro Bowl, it's got to look good, and you can't have Blight. Well, who's the Lions backup? You can't have Jared saying, "Screw that."
Oh, you want to see no more David Blau?
Blau, yeah, that's it. Yeah, see, but
the answer to that is that the guy, they're personally incented, professionally incented to not throw a game. Yep, I didn't want to give the runway to my replacement to some high-end 5-star guy.
Well, this is Doug's idea. Let him defend
You're right.
it.
Yeah, no.
Go ahead.
But wait,
Doug,
I want to say this about
because
I don't want to get after Doug. I can tell by looking at his social media that he has nice kids and he has nice relationship with his kids.
I like Carson the best out of
so
his
I don't
kids.
like to get I don't like to get after him.
Mm-hmm.
But where it crossed the line for me is when there's TPS or something like that, some million follower handle was like, "Hey, this was our idea," and then somebody tweets at Doug like, You're not going to give Doug Rush any credit for this, and then he retweets that. It's like, it's not your idea. It's my idea. You've been following me for 10 years. You've heard me talk about this with Dan Hanzus and everybody else. It's my idea. Don't retweet like I need my credit for the idea that I know isn't mine to begin with.
This is crazy. So petty to be talking about.
It was mine for 5 seconds. I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from you, Dave. Yeah. Like I said, I've known you for a long time. I know who you are. You're well respected. I think.
No. Well respected.
I have two degrees in college for journalism. I know who you are.
There you go. How many degrees you have, Shaq?
It doesn't matter. He's Dave Dameshek.
I promised my mom I'm going to get my degree.
I'm not trying to compete with you. I mean, and in fairness, if they ever come up with this and this becomes a thing, call the Dave Dameshek poll. I think that'd be great. Since, you're the one who's been proposing this the most for so many years. I'm not trying to steal any ideas. It was just something I came up with on a Sunday during a really crappy football game.
I think Pfizer's going to steal this from both of you guys, and that's going to suck, to be honest.
Hey, whatever.
The Dameshek Rush Bowl, or the Rush Dameshek Bowl. We'll switch it off every year. Who cares? And then this PFS, whoever it is.
Yeah. This is just like, the crossover existed. Well before, almost at the start of basketball, they were crossing the ball over. Iverson just perfected it. We've heard this idea before. Doug just perfected it. That's
right. He put the.
How did he perfect it? It's the same. It's the same. There's no difference in it at all. He didn't change it in any way.
Come up with a compensation. I think that's the biggest thing. The compensation thing to get the players that would want to actually participate this. Plus, the Players Association and everything else. There's no perfect, because it hasn't been put in place yet. If the league actually makes this a thing and puts it, then it's been perfected and it's actually being replaced for the Pro Bowl. Until then, it's just an idea. We're all throwing out stuff to replace a game, a two-hand touch game that used to mean something, but now it really isn't. We're just throwing out ideas. It doesn't mean that the NFL's going to be like, yeah.
No, here's the thing. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen. It's like if both of you say, wait, I suggested put pepperoni and mozzarella in gelato. Like, no, that was my idea. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's not going to happen. So everybody just relax. I'm not going to have it because of the quarterback, because Goff's saying, screw you. I'm not going to fight for my replacement to jump in here in April. But I do want to know, Doug, what is your fruit of the year?
Fruit of the year?
Yeah, your favorite fruit.
I like apples.
Apples? Okay, what kind of apples?
Oh, okay.
I like just basic red apples. Those are my go-to.
The Envy apple? Is that what?
No, I like red. Red's kind of, and then whatever. My girlfriend's the one who goes shopping, so whatever's in the house. Right. But apples
the Envy apple. Yeah. All right. Let's go to your bread. Forget about fruit. Bread and butter is now on the agenda. Eddie Spaghetti, our producer, is a huge Giants fan. Give us some Giants inside info. Maybe something you don't like that you're seeing. Maybe something that you do like. It's very weird with Joe Judge. I've not seen a trajectory like Joe Judge's. Like this guy, they loved playing for, and then almost immediately it switched on a dime, and this guy's got to go. He doesn't know what he's doing.
I think what did it in. The 11-minute rant after the Chicago loss, and then running a quarterback sneak in week 18 against the Redskins and showing that you're giving up in the middle of the game really lost the fan base, and I think lost the trust that John Mara had in Joe Judge, and to the point where there was no coming back. And I think he had to think about it, because on Black Monday, you saw a lot of the coaches get fired. Joe Judge didn't get fired until Thursday. So I think John Mara and Steve Tisch really had to think about this. And then that's where on Thursday, Joe Judge got fired. And now you have Brian Daboll coming in from Buffalo, and you see a brand new coaching staff and a new GM and Joe Shane from Buffalo. You're seeing a new brain trust and a new regime. So I think it's a lot of a new style of coaching and the new way of doing things in football, and the kind of the Giant way, which kind of just faded when Tom Coughlin left, has kind of gone out. And a new way of doing things in East Rutherford for the Giants. And I think the fan base has a lot to be excited for.
Do you have any insight, or do you think they'll trade Saquon? Do you have any draft insight? What they should do, what they will do?
Well, let me ask this. First of all, Joe Judge definitely is one of the coaches of the Loser Bowl. I don't care. That's non-negotiable. But why wouldn't the Giants, the first order of business with the new regime, Danny Dimes ain't their guy. He's the last regime's guy. What would prevent them from blowing in a call to Seattle and saying, we'll send Danny Dimes over. At minimum, he's your bridge. You send us Russ back, and we'll send you a first-round pick along with that. Who says no to that?
I mean, the Giants need every draft pick possible, and Russ is going to look at the Giants' offensive line and be like, well, I want out of Seattle because they couldn't protect me. Why am I going to go to East Rutherford when we're looking at the same thing? But, I mean, I know Russ's wife wants him to be in New York. She's in New York all the time. She could just be like, look, you need to go to New York, figure it out. You're a professional. And I mean, Joe Schoen could decide to cut a lot of players. I mean, they talk about Blake Martinez, James Bradbury, cutting $40 million to try and bring in, new talent. Maybe you get, free agents, offensive linemen. You could always still draft offensive linemen. It's very well possible they could decide to turn around, 2 days before the draft and decide to trade Daniel Jones to Seattle for Russell Wilson. But I mean, from everything that Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll is saying, that they're going to work with Daniel Jones. But so that's why until it's done, Daniel Jones for now is still the starting quarterback for the Giants.
I'm just actually reading a report from Ian Rappaport. He said Joe Judge says he was paid to lose those games. I mean, who knows who to believe anymore? But that's very strange. Spaghetti, you have any questions for Doug?
The big one I had was, Dave kind of addressed that, but with 5 and 7, do you think they're going to package 5 and 7 to move back and get more picks and fill out the roster? Or do you think they're going to stand pat with 5 and 7 and probably take O-line, D-line?
I mean, you could talk about a couple different teams. I mean, Carolina could always use a quarterback. The Broncos, you could always use a quarterback. Steelers. So it's possible that teams could look to go from, let's say the Steelers are at 20. Maybe they want Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett. So maybe they want to go from 20 to 5. Or maybe Denver feels like they can't get Aaron Rodgers to go there. So maybe they feel the pressure to go from 9 to 5. Or even the Panthers, who are number 6. Maybe they want to jump up because they fear that maybe a team either wants to beat them to the punch, or just because they feel like they saw something in the pro days or the combine and they fell in love with a quarterback and they want to move up. And maybe the Giants don't feel like they need to take a quarterback. They can move back because they still have 7, and they can, recoup some picks and, try to capitalize some draft capital. And meanwhile, a team decides to take their quarterback of the future, and the Giants can address needs like the offensive line, pass rush, maybe a receiver, a corner, whatever they feel like they need, and take advantage of somebody else's needs.
I'm very excited already for the draft. Our friend Harry's getting married that weekend. That sucks, but yeah, this is good. It's good. All this is in play. It's amazing.
Let me tell you this. Here's one story of intrigue to follow this offseason, and it's gonna all wrap up in the next 2-3 months. The NFC East, if you're not the Cowboys, now Burt Breer is out there talking about Eagles for Russell Wilson. That's where he's going to go. There's smoke about our nation's capital, him putting on that hideous new uniform there. The Giants supposedly is where Ciara wants to go. All this is going to amount, maybe it's all being driven by agents at this point, pushing these agendas that everybody picks up on. They're going to start negotiating or bidding against each other within that division. If you're not the Cowboys, those 3 teams are, because you don't want Russ landing in D.C. if you're a Giants fan or an Eagles fan, and vice versa. So watch this. This is going to be a fascinating story for the next couple.
I love that you guys are best friends. You despised Doug Rush an hour ago. Now you got look at you. You probably watch the Super Bowl.
Look at me. Am I a handsome devil? Well, yeah, I kind of am. But nobody gives a good goddamn about that. All I am is my ideas. Of course, I protect my ideas. I like when people get what are you so upset about, dude? So what? It was a dumb idea. Like, that's all I have is that. I didn't play in the game or anything. All I have are my only value.
Mark,
people take that away. What then?
Shocking. I don't want to cry about my ideas for 40 seconds. I just want to ask Doug a football question.
Go ahead.
Do you
punch up other people's jokes?
Do you think that the line? I mean, do you think that the Giants will re-sign Jabril Peppers? Because I know that he's kind of like supposed to be on the way out of the door, but he seems like he would fit with if Martindale's gonna play the same type of defense he played in Baltimore. seems like Peppers would be a fit in New York.
It would. I mean, if the Giants had cap space, Jabril Peppers makes a ton of sense. And you could put him, right next to Xavier McKinney and Logan Ryan and work free safeties. And then you don't have to really look at Kyle Hamilton. The only problem, though, is Dave Gettleman spent so much of the Giants' cap, and to the point where by the time week 18 happened, they couldn't even field 53 players because they literally had like $10,000 left in cap space. And right now the Giants literally have no cap space and have to figure out, at least 10 million to sign the rookies. So
right.
The fact that is Jabril Peppers coming back, my gut says no, but he's also coming off a season-ending injury. Right. So if he wants to come back for less money, I'm not against it. If he wants to come back on a 1 year, prove it. That's great. He fits the Giants system. He fits Don Martindale's system. He was a leader up until the injury. He was a phenomenal player for the Giants. But when he was, dressed in uniform, made a lot of key plays. So I would say, unless he gets, he wants to take a cheap discount deal, probably not. But if he's open to coming back for less money, nobody's going to say no to it, especially for the Giants fan.
Dameshek said the same thing. Okay, no. Right.
How does a team get so far cap strapped that you can't even field a 53? Like, that just seems to be malpractice in a way that.
That's the problem that a lot of Giant fans and just a lot of, us in the media had with Dave Gettleman, is he spent in all the wrong places, spent in all different directions. And, to the point where when, 2 key linemen get hurt in week 1, he doesn't have, competent depth to replace those. And then you see the season the Giants had where, Daniel Jones has 1 second to make a play before he's getting obliterated. Right. You had Nate Solder coming back off of cancer and, opting out of 2020, and he looked 2 steps slow. Will Hernandez regressed. It was an utter crap show that the Giants put on their offensive line, to the point where it was a running joke every week. And yet you spend $72 million on a wide receiver, but you don't bring back Kevin Zeitler, who would have been fine on that offensive line. And then you bring in Adoree Jackson. He was okay, but you still have, him and James Bradbury. that's $28 million you wrap up in your secondary. You barely have a pass rush. There were so many needs the Giants had, and they spent money, but I just feel like they spent in the wrong places. And the 4-13 record is a result of it.
All right. Well, Doug, thank you so much. Eddie Spaghetti, but please put your pants back on, Spaghetti. He loves all this Giants talk. It's ridiculous.
Thank you really for your ingenuity and originality. Yeah. And going out there and really staking your idea and putting it out there. I appreciate that. It takes real balls to go out there and do something like that.
You're a good sport and a better ideas man, I would say. Doug Rush. That's how I will remember you. You want to plug anything, Doug?
If you want to follow me, I'm at the Doug Rush on Twitter. You can see me at Giants Wire. Just look forward to, interacting with all you guys, and hopefully for the Giants fan base, hopefully a better season than 4-13 and the 1946 that you saw under Dave Gettleman.
There you go. Shaq, you want to apologize one more time, or we just let Doug go?
I just hope that you're a Rangers fan, Doug, because this springtime you're getting yours from the black and gold.
I'm new to hockey. I enjoy hockey, but I don't really have a team. So I enjoy hockey, but I'm neutral when it comes to teams.
Well, now you're a Rangers guy. As long as the Penguins beat them. As long as the Penguins beat them in spring, then the Rangers are your team.
All right, Doug Rush, thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, guys. Take care.
All right. Take care, man. There you go.